today. We thank you for coming. We're going to begin to start our meeting today for the Redevelopment Authority for the City of Erie. Shall we stand with the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, Erin is on.
She is on?
Yeah, Erin is on.
Okay. So, Erin, we just had the Pledge of Allegiance, and I now consent to turn the meeting over to you.
Yeah, this I must be at the limit for this mouse. Erin, can you hear us? Jeremy, can you hear us?
And if so, are y'all able to unmute yourselves?
Well,
Erin or Jeremy, can you hear us? Unmute yourselves. Erin? Jeremy? Erin or Jeremy, can you hear us?
We can see Jeremy.
Yeah, we can see them. Can you guys hear us and unmute yourselves?
What did Aaron say?
Yeah.
If you are speaking,
I don't have a quorum now.
Jeremy could give thumbs up or down. Seems like the issue I was having last month.
Was that Ethan?
So it seems like the issue I was having last month.
Yeah. Yeah, because we thought you were on, and then, yeah, you weren't, then it wasn't working.
Right, yeah.
Testing, testing.
Oh, we can hear you.
I believe
I
we
can
just
hear
heard-
Aaron. Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you, but you
Can you
can't
hear
hear
us?
us. Yeah.
So Jeremy and I can hear each other, but we can't council
It's
chambers.
not working.
Yeah.
Could Aaron hear us?
No.
Yeah. There's that notification on the bottom left. Your microphone is not working.
Yeah, I thought I clicked all the buttons. You just kind of click through all of them. Oh. Can you guys hear us now?
Still says
Nothing.
your microphone's not working.
The other option would be for them to call in.
We have a phone number? So I was trying to sign into my Zoom to see if...
My friend just texted me this.
Everything was set up right in the sense of. Zoom's changed something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, if you could go like that.
Why is it echoing that?
Yeah, go ahead and mute yours. Yeah, that's not gonna work.
Darn it.
The other option I could, is if they watch on Facebook,
We need them to be interactive, though.
it's like only a few seconds off. They both can. You've got two people that's.
Because it echoes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn it. Did the audio set up on that computer?
I turned it off.
No. No. No.
See if they can hear now.
Can you guys hear us now?
Yes.
Yeah.
So. This guy?
Need that push. You guys here still? I got Aaron nodding, I think.
Yes.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
All right. You have the agenda, Aaron? You good to run the meeting?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, it is 3:12, and we'll call the meeting Redevelopment Authority Board to order. And we'll rise to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
We already did the Pledge of Allegiance. I think once is good
Way
for
ahead
today.
of you guys. Okay, great. The board packet includes the consent agenda and includes today's agenda as well as the meetings from February's meeting. Hopefully everyone has had a chance to review those minutes and the agenda. Do you have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next is our citizens' comments. If we have citizens here today to be heard, they can come forward now.
Does not appear so.
Okay.
Whoop, hold on.
Good afternoon, Board. My name is Donald Crenshaw, and I come before the Board again to ask for communication regarding specifically two properties. Weather's getting better now, and we want to move forward, and I'm hoping that since I was not able to schedule a meeting with the Board, I'm going to assume that that's not going to happen. But I will request on the record again for continuing cooperation to renovate two pieces of property, 2708 Downing Avenue and 322 East 22nd Street. I know those are two pieces of property that have entered onto the blight list. One of the properties have had substantial renovation. The other property I noticed was just boarded up here recently, and our goal with the summer coming upon us will be to ask that the Redevelopment Authority award those properties 100% to us so that we can finish renovating them. The property at 322 East 22nd, the house next to it, renovation was started roughly about the same time that we started 322, 324. That property was completed, went on the market for $150,000. There was an offer put in it. I don't know what it actually is selling for. They've done some repairs in the backyard, cleaned up the garbage that was there. And if the property sold for $150,000 right next to us, if there wasn't the stop work order that was put on 324, we'd have that completed by now. All the exterior, we have the plumbing permit in place, plumber waiting. We have the electrical permit in place. The electrician calls me every day saying, when can we get back in there and get that unit finished? I will start proceeding forward to complete the project, but I'm hoping that we can get some sort of agreement between the Redevelopment Authority and ourselves that as we move forward and start pumping money into these two properties, that it will not cause any hardships on us through a possible losing it through an eminent domain or what have you. But I look at all the houses, and I watched just recently here, City Hall, 5th floor, talk about the demand and need, and with the home funds and CDBG and all the funding that's coming out of Harrisburg, we are having direct communication with them and people from the governor's office. We've been doing this about 30 years. Pushing for affordable housing. We're not going to stop. We hope that we can work out something here that we can all pull together, work together, and create what is a big demand here in Erie, and that's affordable housing, not only from the rental standpoint, but home ownership. We did sell a house last week, another one. We have an offer in on it. Once that closes, we got about 6 more that are just being completed. And we'll get you that list as they get listed, and you guys can see we're not just talking the talk, we're walking the walk, and our training program is working. We've met with several of the unions to be able to get a support that as individuals graduate out of the pre-apprentice, that we're going to roll them into an apprenticeship program, be it the laborers, operators, carpenters, sheet metal, you name it. But we are that inroad. We're taking the heavy lifting on with individuals, minorities especially, men and women, to train them. And the best opportunity to be able to train is in a dilapidated, blighted property. When you go in and you may have to look at the foundation, the drywall, the painting, the heating. We as a general contractor, we're doing that. And we've been blessed with reward of several projects. I see we got quite a group of people that are visiting today that is in the same market. And we've reached out and we're working with some of them. We'll work with all of them because I think this training is the real inroad to some individuals that otherwise would not get it. So I reach out to the Redevelopment Authority, again saying, let's sit down, let's work together, let's renovate. I did get a request that came in from your office, Aaron, I appreciate that, to bid on a project. And we do look forward to bidding on some of the renovations and the projects that the redevelopment have going. But we want to make sure we get all of our properties addressed, up to code, no issues, and then move forward. So we look forward to hopefully you guys getting back to us, communicating how we can put the past behind us, go forward, renovate, and make a difference in our community. I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any other citizens to be heard today?
That's it.
Okay. We will move on to the finance report.
Thank you. Included in your packet, you have the balance sheet first. The next page is the profit and loss statement. And I just wanted to give a quick recap of some of the revenue that was showing on there. We had Act 137 for a little over $43,000. We received HACE funds. LHRD was about $67,000, and then there were 3 different ARPA requisitions for, one was admin, one was ARPA Blight, and one was Healthy Homes, and that totaled about $150,000. Then the next page I have for you is the check detail report. That was a list of all of the checks that were dispersed for the month of February. And then also behind that is the reconciliation report. So the reconciled checking account for race. And then after that, we had a letter to the board from Baker Tilly just giving a synopsis of what they had done so far and then their tentative timeline moving forward for their consulting services.
Any questions from the board on the financial update? Do we have a motion to accept the financial reports as they are presented today?
Sorry, I do have a quick question.
Sure.
On the line item for business expenses, the $216,000, is there like a rough breakdown on what's included in that?
Are you looking at the
Sorry,
profit and loss?
Yes. Sorry, the statement of activity for January and February.
What page were you on?
This is page 2 of 4, line 6110.
Sorry, what was the number?
Line item 6110, business expenses for about $216,000. Just seems.
So right now, when the transfers are made between the ARPA account reimbursing the race funds, right now those are under the ARPA checking because it's all lumped together under the one QuickBooks. It's being received as revenue for the general fund, but then has to be listed as an expense. That's the cumulative from January to the end of February from different requisitions that we've done with the various ARPA accounts. So for right now, until we can get everything separated out by the fund accounting, it's showing a business expense. But yes, those are the ARPA transfers.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? If not, do we have a motion to accept financial reports?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
We will move on to the report of the executive director, starting with the solicitor's report.
Good afternoon, Board. Before you, you have my memorandum, again, itemizing the status of the various properties. We are continuing to move forward on these properties to clear up any issues associated with them. In addition, there was a supplemental memorandum that might have been part of your packet with regard to a hearing on Friday. So if you take your time to take a look at those, but we're working with this gentleman to address the issues with regard to that property as well. You will see within the itemized list that there are upcoming hearings on various matters. We're continuing to work with those people and to prepare for the hearings. There is before you and later today going to be two resolutions with regard to two properties, and I wanted to educate and confirm with the board what that process is. A lot of times people are getting to a point where they're going to volunteer or donate properties. So we're more than happy to do that, but as a solicitor, I need to make sure that the title is clear. So a lot of those properties are from out of estates, or an estate has not been set up so that it was mom and dad's house. They went into a nursing home, passed away, and the kids, for fear that they were going to be responsible for any costs or expenses, just simply closed the place up and walked away, and it's deteriorating to the point where we've got to come in and take it. So when we accept that deed back, the fear is that there would be a potential inheritance tax lien or some obligation owed to the Department of Revenue. So I was involved in a conference call with my staff and the attorneys at the Department of Revenue, and how I put forth to them was it's similar to like a deed in lieu of foreclosure on a mortgage foreclosure action, but this is what's called a deed in lieu of condemnation. So basically what we're doing is we've put together a format so the Department of Revenue can see, okay, they are taking back this property as donated or voluntary, but there is no value to the property. The Redevelopment Authority is going to have to literally spend money to bring it down to a lot. So not only is it no value, but it's costing the Redevelopment Authority to do that. So when they have all that information, they will supply us with documentation confirming, hey, there is no inheritance tax ramification as a result of this transfer of this valueless property to the Redevelopment Authority. So once it's taken down to a lot, then we can do that with a clear title, so that there aren't any potential inheritance tax liens down the road. So the resolution is to address those situations, because the Department of Revenue wants to see a resolution from our board accepting those properties within those parameters. There are a number of properties, but there's two right now that are ready for board approval. So that's kind of the backstory on why all of a sudden you're going to have some resolutions, because the Department of Revenue is asking for those, and that's fine. That's that's the process. The rest of this is pretty well self-explanatory. Again, I also want to show the board on the last page that we are pushing these properties forward, and we're working with City Hall to address municipal liens and back taxes. What we have to do is make sure that the property is free and clear when it gets transferred or sold to a third party. So we're doing that, and we're fine-tuning that process. It's been a learning process to make sure that everything is taken care of, so that we can transfer the properties free and clear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gene. All right, I
Questions?
guess I'll just continue with the general updates. An update on our RACP grant. EMTA is going to move forward with their project up on the parking garage build out. They're currently working with Chuck Peters and Tom Hardy to revise their documents and get those submitted to OB for approval. So hopefully here within the next 30 days, we'll have those documents revised, signed, and back down to the state for their review. So that project's back online, and hopefully we'll be moving forward this summer. Then the second and last thing is that working with a coalition of other municipalities, redevelopment authorities, and land banks across the state to convene a blight coalition to just address and idea share best practices, experiences across the state. We're going to convene on March 19th for our first meeting. Hopefully, get to know each other and kind of talk about, what each of us are doing in the fight against blight. So I look forward to that conversation and hopefully, some continuing conversation with those individuals. That's my report.
Thank you. Any questions from the board on any of those items?
None?
If not, we'll move on to unfinished business, beginning with the ARPA new housing production proposals. We have some presentations here today.
All right. Yeah, so we have, I believe, everybody in the audience today. And so, like I had said, I had emailed them requesting them to speak about 3 minutes on their proposals, highlight the shovel-ready projects, and then just really talk about that. So I guess on the last page of yours, you should have the spreadsheet. Ethan's got it. Aaron and Jeremy, I don't believe you have it. I apologize for that. I don't think I printed it. I didn't email it. Could you go scan this to them?
All right. I could take a picture with my phone and then
Okay.
email it.
That'd be great if you could do that.
Of course.
Anna, do you want to go first? You're on top of the list.
Happy to go first. Thanks so much. I'm Anna Franz. I'm the Executive Director of Our West Bayfront. I will try to keep this to 3 minutes. So as I believe you have all seen, Our West Bayfront is seeking funding through the Race New Production Program to support the rehab and new construction of a total of 7 different properties. I'm not going to list all the addresses unless that would be helpful. Our goal, basically, with this work is to preserve the properties themselves and also preserve and create affordable housing in the neighborhoods that we serve in the West Bayfront community. We have done this work before in partnership with the Redevelopment Authority and the Land Bank, and we're seeking to continue that. Most of these properties we either have acquired or anticipate acquiring from the Land Bank. 702 Raspberry, for example, and 521 West 3rd Street, I believe both came to us through the Land Bank. They are all vacant properties and in a state where they need considerable levels of rehabilitation. And our ultimate goal, for the most part, is to create affordable rental properties, although in some cases we would be creating properties that we would then resell at affordable prices to new home buyers, hopefully through the newly formed Cornerstone Community Land Trust to preserve affordability in those properties. The cost of this renovation, of these renovations and new construction, we know is extensive, in part because of the requirement of prevailing wage. So we have secured a number of additional funding sources, including fair funds, home funds. We've put our own funding into it, Keystone Communities funds from the Department of Community and Economic Development, and then in some cases we have the City of Erie historic grants that are being utilized, as well as some private grants from PNC and other private sources. So really an enormous mix of different sources that are needed to renovate these properties. But as a result of kind of piecing all those together, many of these properties are shovel ready. So to Aaron's question about the shovel readiness, 702 Raspberry, 521 West 3rd Street, 911 Walnut Street, we've actually already begun construction or demolition in those properties, have scopes developed. We have a really clear sense of what needs to be done. 649 Downing Street, we've applied for home funds from the City of Erie, and we anticipate being ready to move on that very quickly. And then the last 314 Walnut, 430 Cascade, and 901 West 4th Street, I think are a little bit farther out, but certainly important properties to the neighborhood that we hope to tackle within the next 12 months or so. I should just want to mention at the end that we are part of a collaboration with the other neighborhood groups that are here today, Sisters of St. Joseph Neighborhood Network, BEST, and BUILD. And jointly we are seeking funding through other organizations, including the Erie Community Foundation and ECRA, to support this broad effort to rehabilitate and stabilize properties as a tool for neighborhood revitalization. And hopefully the ARP funding would be a key piece of the funding to make that vision possible. Thank you.
Thanks,
Any
Anna.
questions?
Any questions for Anna?
No.
Good. Awesome. Thank
Okay,
you.
Thanks.
Hands? Tim, Matt? Which one? Oh, Matt.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Matthew Good. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Housing and Neighborhood Development Service, more commonly known as HANDS. We appreciate the opportunity to be here today to present to you our proposed Emma Howell Apartments at 1319 Parade Street. I also want to thank Aaron and his staff and the staff of the Land Bank for your support with this project to date. This was a Land Bank acquisition. HANDS is respectfully requesting $183,000 in gap funding from the Redevelopment Authority toward the total project cost of $1.9 million to make Emma Howell Apartments a reality. Emma Howell Apartments will adaptively reuse and substantially rehabilitate the currently blighted building at 1319 Parade Street to create 4 new affordable rental homes serving very low and moderate income residents, including homeless and special needs residents. Currently, 1319 Parade Street is the only remaining source of blight in this section of Parade Street in the city's East Side Midtown neighborhood. The 4 new affordable units will all be 1 bedroom, including 1 fully accessible apartment, and rents in the apartment homes will be affordable to residents earning between 20% and 60% of the area median income. Population served will include working households, residents experiencing homelessness, and residents with special needs. The housing development also hopes to pay tribute to Emma Howell, who was a woman of firsts in the Erie community. And by first, I mean including the first to be emancipated from slavery and was the first to own land in the city of Erie. She owned from 9th to 15th Street on the east side of Parade, which was the location of Erie's first underground railroad station. And although she did not own this particular building, it does stand on the land that she once owned. HANDS is working with Preservation Erie and Kevin Johnson, who was the author of a new book, The Short Story, But Big Life of Emma Howell, the Ford family, and Erie's first underground railroad station, to dedicate a state-sanctioned historic marker on the site. Hans has been working in consultation with Spalding Banks Project Management, Atlantic Engineering, the Avon Design Group, and AMARC Environmental. Significant funding commitments are already in place, including the City of Erie Home Program, the Erie Land Bank, 2 PHFA funding sources of FAIR and HOP-MF, Federal Home Loan Bank of Pittsburgh AHP program, and a commitment of private funds from John Vanko, who lives in the neighborhood. Acquisition of 1319 Parade Street and the adjoining vacant lot have been completed, and the environmental remediation work begins this month, along with beginning design work and construction plans and specifications. Design and construction plans and specification work are estimated to be completed in the May/June of 2024 timeframe, and selection of a general contractor is estimated to be completed in July of 2024. And 9 months of construction activity between July of 24 and March of 25. In summary, the property is zoned properly, acquisition has been completed, major funding sources have been secured, and early planning and design are underway. The requested funding will help fill the gap that stands between the blighted building at 1319 Parade Street and the proposed Emma Howell apartments. If awarded, the Redevelopment Authority will be helping in the mission of providing safe, affordable housing for city residents in need while continuing to partner in the revitalization of the city's Midtown neighborhood. I'm joined today by my colleague, Tim Althoff. He's more of the technician on all these funding sources and various aspects of the project. So if there are any questions, we're available. In your handout, we have our schematic plans and some elevations as well that have been presented by Rick Avon of the Avon Design Group, as well as an interesting article that appeared in the Erie Reader about Emma Howell and our development plans.
Questions?
I have two. First is, if I'm reading your proposal correctly, the race funds are the last funds that you need in order to complete the capital stack for this deal?
We are. I will put one caveat on that because we will be going out to bid on this project, so it's subject to the results of a bid. But the proposal that we have in the budget is put together by Steve Spalding, who's a seasoned professional in the construction field, so we feel that we are dealing with a fairly solid number in that.
Okay, thank you. And then the other question is, did you secure the HP funds from FHLB Pittsburgh from the most recent round or 2 rounds ago? I just want to make sure that there's...
The current round.
Okay, great, thank you. More questions from me?
Anything else? Awesome thing.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Best?
Good afternoon. My name is Jeremy Blazer. I'm with the Bayfront Eastside Task Force. We are here to give you a little more detail about our application. As Anna stated, we are working with other neighborhood groups to apply for funds individually, but hoping that our impact is collective, both with these funds as well as other funds that we are applying for. BEST has a long history. We've been around for 45 years. We have been very active in the rental ownership of property to turn it into rental for the last 15 years. The 7 properties that we've identified in our proposal, the vast majority we already own. The only 2 that we don't own, we're in active communications and negotiations with those owners to acquire, and knowing whether we had some funds through the RACE ARP would be helpful in knowing what we could offer on those. We've used staff to develop estimates as well as our past history of redeveloping rental property. We currently manage 25 units of rental within our neighborhood, and as I said, we've been doing that for many years, so this is really an extension and expansion on what we do day in and day out. These extra funds would allow us to be able to even broaden that scope. We feel that absentee landlords is a big barrier to us doing our job and making this the best neighborhood to live, work, and play, and the reason that we have gotten into this market is really to compete and to push out those that are not active and participatory landlords that are bringing good elements into our neighborhood. Absentee landlords don't take care of the property, and they certainly don't take care of the tenants. We can say that we very well do both. The other points I guess I just want to mention were that we have asked and applied for, the lion's share of funding that you have available. That's not certainly to say anything about our competing proposals that we also feel are very strong. It's that there was a lot more money in this bucket when ARP first was rolled out, and you have $900,000 and change that you guys are evaluating now. We're hoping that additional dollars can come into this. We can clearly paint a picture that there's a lot more work to be done, and that these dollars are very important but will not solve the problem for us. The properties that we are going to work on immediately that are shovel ready are the ones that we have under our ownership. We already have bids put out to try to get a scope of work completed, and our properties that we know we have very quickly would have tenants that are interested in these properties. So it would really help us to know what we have from this pot so that we can add that to our layer, and we have very similar stacks to what Anna described as far as fair funding, our own private funds. We use our rental profits to go back into our rentals as well as NPP funds from our corporate sponsors. So we have all the rest of the funds. These funds would allow us to just get there more quickly and get us there more effectively. Are there any questions?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeremy. Sisters of St. Joseph.
Hello, my name is Heather Casper. I'm the Executive Director with Sisters of St. Joseph Neighborhood Network. Gonna wait until these handouts get around to you. If you take a look at that map on the first page, in case you aren't familiar with the footprint of the Sisters of St. Joseph Neighborhood Network, you'll see there that we stretch from 12th Street to 26th, from Cranberry on the west, the whole way over to the east side Bayfront connector. All but one of these census tracts is a qualified census tract. So the work that we do is primarily in qualified census tracts. You can see the Little Italy neighborhood focus area. This page, by the way, is from our most recent neighborhood development plan. Little Italy neighborhood is where the sisters have been for 23 years. Just 7 years we stretched across State Street to the east side. So a new area of focus that we would like to take a look at is there, the Trinity Park East Side neighborhood. You can see that on your map there. The blue circles are completed renovations, 8 locations, 12 units that we have finished in the last 10 years. We do have a renovation and home ownership program that we target. We'd like to expand that into our east side neighborhoods as well. So the yellow triangles are the proposed renovations that were part of the grant application. You can see where those are in relation to the properties that we already own and also where we'd like to focus, which is East 22nd Street. We've got a stretch there of a number of properties. The green triangles were included in the application as proposed new construction sites, prime locations on vacant parcels that we also own for new construction. And then you'll see we've got 1 or 2 triangles for single-family homes or multi-unit. So that's just an explanation of that map and kind of shows you where we're targeting and the focus area and the impact that could be held. The second page are the actual photographs of the properties. 8 properties that we feel are ready to move. We're ready to move on. The third page, I took the budget figures that we provided in the application, and I detailed those out a little bit and made them readable for comparison, showing the address, the number of units, the current ownership, if it's a privately owned property, or if it's right now listed on the MLS. There actually are quite a few properties here that are listed on the MLS. Or there are 2 race-owned properties in various states of rehab or not. You can see there are 3 of the MLS properties that are pending. These 3 properties have circulated on the MLS, pending for quite some time. We know that there are structural problems with them. A benefit that we can have in seeking and being awarded additional funds is that we can go in without the contingencies that others do. We know that they need a new roof. We know that it needs foundation work on this corner, where there are things we fear that they will circulate unpurchased and unrenovated until they become like the neighbor to one of them on West 18th Street that is now completely boarded up and needs to be torn down. And so that's the state of many of the properties on these lists, is that if nobody that can go in and make the renovations to them and really get them back into circulation, they just end up continuing blight until they come down. So I did detail out some of the numbers as well from our original ask. We got the total project, and again, as Anna had said, we are operating or sort of patching together a number of different funding sources. Redevelopment Authority is one of them. The Community Foundation, we have presented to them with a significant ask as well. In fact, one of their comments back to us was, where's the city in this? They're kind of waiting. And so we said, we have an application also in jointly for the city. And so we're really hoping that some of these ARP funds can be used for this, because that will help us. We can leverage that as evidence to the Community Foundation that yes, someone else is investing in this as well. We also have some fair funds for any of the single-family homes that we have listed here. They would be intended to be transferred for permanent affordability within the Community Land Trust too, and so we have some fair funds available to help with those properties. I have, for purposes of prioritizing shovel readiness of these projects, at the very bottom of the spreadsheet page, I've pulled out the new construction pieces, as those are less shovel ready as the existing structures. I also subtracted the pending properties. Let's say in a perfect world, they are actually pending by someone who intends to buy them in the next month and put a lot of dollars into them. Then that would also make me very, very happy for our neighborhood. The other properties don't have any commitment to them. And so I've parceled out those figures as well. Are there any questions?
So the properties that are pending, they're pending on the MLS, not pending with Sisters of St. Joseph.
Correct. We have already, you'll see where I've listed that we're already negotiating an offer with those. Yes, we've already been through those properties, and we can come in without the contingencies and make an offer to that. And those are really just pending my own board approval for the purchase of those 2 for the acquisition.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Thank you.
Build CDC.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Daria Devlin, Director of Social Impact for the Hammett Health Foundation. Also wearing a couple of hats. The Hammett Health Foundation, as you probably know, is the 501c3 organization that supports Hammett Hospital. Recently in our work at the Hammett Health Foundation to really address the social determinants of health in our community, we have formed a Community Development Corporation, BUILD, which is the applicant for this project. Build really is grown out of the work that we did that began on the east side of Erie at the Erie Center of Arts and Technology in the Wayne School neighborhood. I was the executive director of ECAT when we did that project, a $12 million renovation of the former Wayne School. After completing that project, we decided that we really wanted to delve into housing in that neighborhood. We developed a very robust neighborhood plan for what we now call the Wayne Health and Wealth Equity District. Its boundaries are 6th Street to 12th Street from the Bayfront connector to Pennsylvania Avenue. So in that footprint, you'll see the addresses that we have applied for race funding today all fall within that footprint. And we are the new kid on the block, certainly, no pun intended. We are coming to this work having not delved into housing before, but having seen the need for affordable housing, particularly in the domain of health, which is why the hospital and the Health Foundation are involved. We are looking solely for acquisition with these properties. These are all properties that we have been in discussion with. They have been listed before on the MLS and have come down because they've not sold, because the sellers could not reach any agreement. So we have been in contact with them. We understand they want to relist in the spring. So with some commitment of funding, we'd be able to go on the market and reach those individuals before they put them back out and hopefully secure the acquisition. Just for your general information, two of those, are single-family homes and 2 are duplexes. We would specifically be renovating these for use by the students in our projects and our programs over at Wayne. So we have 2 career training programs there, the UPMC School of Nursing and also the ECAT Clinical Medical Assistant Program. These are predominantly students of color. They're predominantly low income. They have high need, and we would be targeting them for either sale, purchase, or rentals in these units. We think it would only enhance their ability to complete their training programs, get them on the path to self-sufficiency. So that's kind of the angle that we're taking with these properties. Happy to answer any questions. I do want to reiterate, we are simply looking for acquisition dollars. We do not have we do not have control of these properties now, but have spoken to each of the owners about purchase.
So you mentioned that that you're just looking to acquire
Yes.
a couple times. So, or would you be looking to lease these immediately after purchasing, or would you be holding off on that until you get farther in the process?
They all need sufficient renovation. We're already aware of that. So we would be putting in our private dollars from the Health Foundation to be doing the renovation prior to putting them out for lease.
And do you have a plan for, or I guess I should say a plan for raising funds, or it is cash that you already have on hand?
We have cash with the Health Foundation from donors and our own funds that we will be putting into these.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Or do you know which ones are the duplexes?
Yeah, the duplexes are 914 East 11th and 923 East 7th. And I should say 1023 McCarter has come down from the MLS. So I would, when I'm coming here today, I would even, probably say that might come off of our list. Really, the 923 East 7th, 943 and a half, and 914 East 11th, those are the ones that we've really had sufficient conversation with. So we would probably pull the 1023 McCarter at this point. Any other questions? Okay, great. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Vendetti?
Good afternoon, board members and others and solicitors also. We own a piece of property on Bayfront Highway and McClellan Avenue, northwest quadrant, 40 acres, 30 acres of which I'd like to put under residential development for between 120 and 140 homes in the area of around between 250,000 to 325,000 purchase price. They'd be one and two story homes, and the zoning is there in place. We own the property, and we'd like to obtain about $50,000 per per buyer for the homes that qualify for affordable housing. We think the project will contribute to the growth and the prosperity of the city of Erie. However, we're facing significant challenges in ensuring affordable housing for our residents and potential residents. Providing $51,000 to individuals intending to purchase the home that qualify will make home ownership more accessible and affordable for our community members, not only located in the city and purchase a home, but also to stop the exodus out of the city into neighboring municipalities. This will enable home buyers to establish a more permanent relationship with our city and surrounding communities than renting would afford. The passing of LRTA was the impetus for this development, and we thank City Council for doing so. Tulsa, Oklahoma, by the way, is paying people $15,000 to move back into the city. We're shovel-ready. Engineers can start immediately, and while the engineering is taking place, we'll market the homes and enter into sales agreements. The $51,000 will be spent at the time of the closing, not after the construction is done, but at the time of the closing, which would probably take about 4 to 6 months from today. I think ARPA funds were intended to be used for infrastructures, and that's what we would be doing this for. We estimated that each lot would for the road, water, sewers, and things would take about $50,000. Depending on, in the proposal that I gave you, it would take about $6 million for the total road, and I just divided that by 120. And the use of the funds would be allow new families and purchasers to come into the city and establish a more permanent relationship. And we believe that this project will give the authority the biggest bang for its bucks. We think it's an historic event, and we look forward to your support. Any questions, anybody?
So I couldn't quite find this in your proposal, but you mentioned about $50,000 in the ARPA funds would be requested per home, but I didn't see how many homes that you're requesting it for.
As much money as I can get. If we put in, if we put in 10 homes, that's $500,000. If we put in 20 homes, that's $1 million. I know you have a $981,000 cap on it, but.
I guess my question is, how much are you requesting total?
As much as I can. I don't know what. I want to put 120 homes in, so $6
million.
Yeah, $6 million is what it would be, if that's possible. But I don't know. But anyhow, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just trying to say that whatever you guys want to give me is great. It'd be $50,000 per buyer for those that qualify. Not all are going to qualify. We marketed this about 2 years ago, and we got 12 in about 2 months. We had nothing to sell. We had just woods, but we got 3 senior citizens that wanted to downsize, and they would need financing, I don't think, or they could get their own financing. We got an empty nester, a nurse from the vet's hospital. She didn't have a husband and her kids were gone, and she just wanted to have a place to stay, and I don't know whether she needed financing or not. Got 2 people, 2 women, one from Denver who's an attorney, but I can't remember, I never heard her name. She retired and she wanted to move back, and she didn't need financing. Had another woman from Delaware that wanted to come here, and then a fellow from Findlay Lake wanted to buy one for his son who had some children, and himself because he didn't want to keep on coming back from Findlay Lake to Erie to see his grandkids. So it'll be a mix. It'll be a mix. There was an interesting article in the Wall Street the other day about a high-rise condo. It was a high end. I mean, you walk in the lobby and it's Gucci and Pucci and all that stuff, and they put 30% into affordable housing, and and the top rentals up there were like $25,000 a month. And it didn't, you know, the old system of segregating people in groups is just not, it doesn't work. You don't separate old people from young people because they each can help each other out in different ways. I mean, it's been historically forever. All of a sudden, you know, for the last 30, 40 years, we want to have a senior citizen, we want this, that, and the other thing. I live next to a couple that owns 7 kids, all under 10. And they're a greater joy to watch and talk to than some of my peers. But anyhow, that's neither here nor there. You know, they don't say, oh, my back hurts, my neck hurts, I got to go to the doctor, all that stuff. Anyhow, that's about it. But anyhow, to answer your question, you know, it's be $50,000 per buyer for those who qualify. You know, whatever the number is, it is.
All right. Any other questions?
No.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks.
All right, that is everyone for every proposal that we did receive. I didn't put anything on the agenda today as far as a resolution for the board to make a decision. I really wanted the board to have the opportunity to hear from the individuals who put in proposals, ask any questions they may have. I would request of the board that we possibly schedule a special meeting, hopefully in a couple weeks, to basically start making some awards on this funding so that we can get some projects underway, given that we are entering our construction season. So that is my request and my plan for this moving forward.
Okay.
Agreed. Sooner than later, I think.
Sounds good. Thank you all. Up next is the East Bayfront Greenway Trail Landscape Architect.
All right, so in the link that Cynthia sent out last week was the 3 proposals that we received. Aaron, Carrie, and I sat down and reviewed them last week and went through them. It is my recommendation to enter into an agreement with LSSE Civil Engineers and Surveyors. Their proposal seemed to meet the requirements of the Greenway Trail. They hit all of the RFP requirements and scored the highest on the scoring matrix. It was 3 very, very good proposals, all of which seem to have the experience that we are looking for this project, and you know, certainly being our first kickoff, you know, we want it to be as successful as possible. So, you know, selecting this company along with our selected artist under the PA Council of the Arts grant will allow them to work together, do a little bit more community engagement, and hopefully get us plans and documents ready for early summer so we can get this project out to bid. So the contract would be for $47,715 for the development, construction documents, permit documents, bid documents, bidding and award, and pre-construction meetings. There is additional, we did ask them to provide additional services and fees, so there is a fee schedule that was provided in the proposal and would be connected to the document for any additional charges that were outside of the proposal or any unforeseen circumstances. Questions?
Been a long time.
Would we be looking for a motion to enter
Yes.
into agreement
Yes.
with LSSE, Aaron?
Yeah, we'll need a motion.
I so move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Up next is Race Property Acquisition. Looks like the 2 properties.
Yes, so Jean did an excellent job explaining the resolution, so I won't have to do that at this point. So these are the 2 properties, 3221 Old French and 1222 East 19th Street for deed in lieu of condemnation. Both have separate resolutions. We'd be looking for a motion either individually or to move both of them for approval to acquire.
I move to enter into an agreement for both of these, joint resolution, I guess.
I second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Like, finally, we have the April 8th board meeting.
All right, so City Hall has now announced that they are closing this building for non-essential employees on April 8th. And then it came to my realization that our board meeting is scheduled for April 8th at 3 p.m. So, I mean, unless you guys really feel like missing the eclipse and, you know, its entirety, I mean, you know, given the City Hall's closed, we have to reschedule that meeting to another day. I'm not, you know, at this point sure what we will have on the agenda, and not really, you know, open to thoughts from the board as far as whether we want to reschedule or cancel the meeting. I know, you know, like I said, I just requested a special meeting for the new production funding, but, you know, like I said, we have the scheduled on the books in April 8th meeting. I could look at moving it to the following Monday, the same day as the land bank meeting at 1 o'clock. We could do a 3 o'clock meeting. Really just open to thoughts and ideas from the board.
If that fits your schedule.
Yeah, that would work for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we'll advertise then to move it to that following Monday, and I'm not, 15th? Tax day? All right, so we'll re-advertise it as April 15th at 3 p.m.
Great.
And then we'll get, circulate some dates for a special meeting for the new production.
Sounds good. Is there any other business for today's meeting?
That is all I have.
Okay, we will, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oh, I don't vote.